Hello friends, Mandar here. I'm back with another video. Today there was another chat with Charlie and I thought I would make a summary video from what I understood from that call. There is a lot of good insight that Charlie gives, giving us a view of what goes into the numbers that are published in the visa bulletin. So let me make a summary out of it. I just heard the 35 minutes call and I thought I can concise that into a 10 minutes for you so that you can understand what was the gist of it. So if you're interested in this topic, watch this video until the end and let's get started. If you are here for the first time, welcome. My name is Mandar and I make immigration related videos for US and Canada. I'm not an immigration lawyer, so anything that I say on this video or on my channel is for information purpose only. And for your specific immigration needs, you should hire a competent immigration lawyer. Now today the chat with Charlie call was specific to the questions that were posted to him or on his website and they were in response to those questions. So there were specific questions about EB and FB category, EB in the sense employment based category and family based category. Now Charlie is chief of the reporting division and he is in charge of allocating or administrating the numerical limits, annual numerical limits for the visa categories. So all the dates that we see on the visa bulletin, those are done by him or his department. Now another thing that I want to mention is any information that Charlie gives supersedes or it is the most accurate information from his perspective what he is giving. So anything that any other people say on their channel or my channel, if that deviates from what Charlie says, then Charlie supersedes. So with that disclaimer, I'll go into the answers that he gave to the questions today. Now the first question is very common and I get that from my viewers as well. Will the numerical limit reach for this fiscal year 2021 that was allocated to EB category? So what that question means is there was a spillover from family based category visa to the employment based category visa and there were 262,000 visas available for FY 2021. Now this limit is probably not going to be reached. That's what Charlie says. The reason is because of the COVID implications. The consulate processing has not started yet, but it's gradually starting. And officers in USCIS are doing their best to meet this number by the end of the fiscal year, which is September 2021. The numbers probably will not meet. So what it means is not all the visa numbers will be utilized this year. Now another question was how much numerical limit do you expect for the next fiscal year, which is 2022, starting October of 2021. Now his answer was 290,000 visas will be available. That is a huge number. That is the highest number ever for employment based category to be available in a certain year. That means on top of the 140,000 base visa numbers, there will be another 130,000 visas 150,000 visas that will be available to make the total of 190,000 visas for fiscal year 2022, which is interesting. Now another question was, will the priority days for EB category continue to advance for China and India? And the answer was yes. So basically he said this year and next year they will continue to advance in the rapid pace. Now there was another question and that was probably repeated from the last time. Which countries use the majority of EB category immigrant visas? And the answer was obviously China and India. And then the reason is those are the countries which have the earliest priority dates, which means that people have been waiting for a long time. So the people who have the priority dates in earlier part will have the preference to get the visa number available because those dates will be current as per the final action dates chart. And in addition to that, if there are any spillover numbers from worldwide category or family based category, they spill over to the employment based category. Now this is a repeated question. How is the final action date determined? And he clearly says that it's all determined by the per country limit, each country's capacity, how much numerical limits are there for a particular country for a particular category of visa, how many incoming visa numbers, how many visa numbers are available at that point of time, and how much is the demand. The demand depends on how many people are documentarily ready to go into the final stage of the green card. There was another question, does USCIS share information with his office? And the answer is yes. He said that there was there is a monthly call that happens where this information is shared regarding the number of visas that are required or the demand that is coming in to USCIS to process the visas. Now there was another question, at what point is a visa number assigned to an applicant? Now he clearly said that your priority date has to be current, that is a baseline requirement, but in addition to that you need to be documentarily complete. What it means, all the documentation should be submitted to USCIS in time for them to be documentarily complete, at which point of time a visa number can be allocated to that particular applicant. So as long as all the documents are ready and as long as the priority date is current, the visa number is allocated to a candidate. Now another thing that was asked was, will the final action dates retrogress in any case? He was very clear, in the fiscal year 2021, which is until September of this year, and for the next year he does not expect any of these dates to retrogress. Now he also mentioned that as the consulates open, and I also mentioned it in my previous video, that eventually the consulates will open. What that means is more and more family based petitions or visa numbers will start to get allocated in the consulates abroad, which means there will be lesser visa numbers spilling over into the EB category starting the year later. So you can see at the later part of the next year, which means after spring of 2022, the visa number for the family based category will start to be rapidly processed and rapidly used. So there may not be any spillovers for the following year, which is 2023, but that remains to be seen. There were questions about diversity lottery visa. Will there be a cutoff? Will the cutoff remain the current? And that will remain current. Again, there was a question on, will EB1, EB2 or EB3 retrogress in this year or next year? The answer was clearly no, which is good news. He also, like I mentioned, he also mentioned that things might slow down in the later part of fiscal year 2022, which means beyond spring of 2022, things might slow down. Now there were questions about, will my priority date become current for EB2 or EB3, and that is a very general theme of questions that even I get on my channel. And Charlie was clear to mention that it is expected that the final action dates will reach the filing dates chart by the end of this fiscal year. Now interesting, there was one question about whether a 2016 EB3 date for India will become current anytime soon. Charlie did mention that by next year EB3 final action date will reach somewhere around 2012, which is a little bit conservative. I would say it will reach beyond that, but that's to the extent that Charlie was able to answer that question. Beyond that, it's all speculation at this point of time. He also reiterated multiple times that for the next fiscal year, the total number of visas available for employment-based category will be 290,000, which is the highest number so far we have seen ever in a year for EB category. Now there is another question, interesting question that was asked, whether Charlie's work or allocation of these numbers and dates, priority dates in the visa bulletin, does this work get audited? And then the answer was yes. But he did mention that his department sticks very clearly with the immigration guidelines, and so any of this thing is all in line with the guidelines and the law. So there is no ambiguity, and all of this is audited. Now there was the interesting question, what is the point of advancing the priority date? Now Charlie was very clear that this, by allowing or by advancing the filing dates chart, it allows the NVC, the National Visa Center, to reach out to the prospective candidates who are waiting in line for the green card to start collecting the document. Once they allow that to happen, that's when his department gets to know the number of people coming into the pool at a particular given time. So which kind of gives them the demand or estimate of the demand. So that is very important to note, that progressing the priority dates in the filing dates chart merely allows his department to know how many people are ready to submit their final papers for the green card, and that way they can know the demand so that they can reach the numbers or the priority dates for the next month in the visa bulletin. There was another question, shouldn't the spillover numbers all go to India? And he explained that it's not the way that works. There are certain quotas that are allocated in each category. The spillover numbers have to go at a certain percentage. Say for instance EB1, EB2 and EB3, it's only 17% that goes to a particular country, and EB3 and EB4 and EB5, there is only 7 point something percent that goes to them. So that applies to the base category as well as for the spillover category. So it follows a certain pattern through which these numbers get allocated, and not everyone goes to one country. I did mention that in my previous videos. If you want to check out my channel for that particular reason, there is a certain sequence how these spillover numbers are allocated by category and by country. So you might want to watch that video. Now there was an interesting question, is it in the State Department's authority to make all the dates current for a particular month? Charlie did allude that this is all based on calculations, based on what is the demand, what is the number of visas available, and then make that determination. So it was not a clear answer, but I would say yes, they have that authority, but they would still go by the numbers and the demands. There was a question, out of the 262k visas that are available for employment based category this year, how many have been used so far? He did not answer that question because that is not what they do. They don't publish the numbers mid-year for how many were used or not used. There were multiple questions regarding how these dates progress, why do they allow the dates to move forward, and Charlie was again reiterated that it's to chin up the demand. That's the word he used, chin up the demand, which means he wants to increase the demand. Basically, if the dates progress, that allows NVC, National Visa Center, to reach out to the prospective candidates to start preparing the documentation for the final stage of the green card. Now once they apply for their 485, that's where they start getting these demand numbers, and that is basically what the Charlie's department is looking for. They basically want to know how many people are in the pool ready to apply for their 485, that is coming into the pool to use those allocated numbers. There was a question about around when he says aggressively moving forward in the dates, what does that actually mean? So he gave an example of EB2. EB2 used to progress by only a few days or up to a week just a few years back for India, but now we are seeing up to 3 to 4 months or up to 6 months of progression in since the last couple of months, and we'll continue to see that in the near future. Rest of the questions were more related to this is my priority date, what do you think, will it become current or not? Those were all general questions that I get on my channel as well, and as I said in my previous video, I can make a speculative guess about this year and next year whether the dates will become current or not. Anything beyond that is anybody's guess. At this point of time, all we know is 262,000 visas are available for employment based category this year, and there is a speculation as per Charlie that there will be 290,000 visas available for next year. What that means is a lot of people will be eligible to apply for their final stage of green card. Now whether they get their green card within the time within that year is to be seen. That depends on how many applications are processed by USCIS in that particular year, or whether those numbers remain unused. That's to be seen. If you got value out of this video, please hit the like button and consider subscribing to my channel, and I will see you in the next one.